one of the experiences I can describe about how the prison system has changed just in my working lifetime is actually seeing it through the eyes of my children. And I talked to my son, who was a baby when I started working in this particular job. He's now almost 21. And when he came into the prisons with me, he came into the prisons with me. There was no question that if I was going as a single mom, there would be times when I would have to take him with me. No question. And he would come in with me, and his first label, because whether we like it or not, they are labels. His first label for the women in prison was the mummies. So it tells you how he experienced going into the prison. At about 3, he realized it was a jail, and he suddenly said to me, "Mummy, this is a bad jail." And he also said, "Mummy, why did they keep the mummies in the bad jail?" He had no concept. He was learning through peers that jails were bad things, but he was also learning it was a place where bad people went, and his lived experience was nothing related to that. And some of you know my son learned to play video games. He learned to dance the Macarena. He learned how to do karaoke in the prisons. But he also learned some very basic lessons about humanity that he carries on now, and I'm forever grateful for, whereas my daughter, who is 12, is terrified of prisons. Her first experience of going into prisons was of guards challenging me for even bringing her in, making negative comments about me allowing my child to interact with the women who are incarcerated in the prisons. And so that's a very different experience for 2 children whose age difference may seem great, but 8 years really isn't a huge difference to have had that kind of sea change in terms of environment, in terms of attitudes. And I'd like to talk a bit about how, I'm out of time. Okay, well then I'll very quickly say that one of the things that it has shown me and has shown, I think, many people is one of the ways we've achieved traction on some of the law and order agenda is to succeed in convincing people that those who are in prison are who we require protection from, and that they are somehow not deserving the same rights, entitlements, freedom from want that we have come to expect as individuals, as Canadians. The other is that we expect an alternative to actually be something that will replace the prisons and keep us safe and have none of the challenges that the current system has. So if in fact we applied the same standard to prisons as we do to other places, let's say a cardiac ward, if everybody who went into a hospital to have heart surgery died or got worse or developed new ailments in addition to their cardiac problem, how quickly do you think those wards, those units, those hospitals would be closed down? And yet with a prison, one of the challenges we face, and certainly abolitionists face, and we're talking about the prison industrial complex, is a suggestion that we must, in fact, replace it with something that will perfectly change and affect the changes we want to see, instead of talking about a failed experiment that by just doing many other things, whether it's creating childcare, social services, healthcare, education, we could achieve very different results. And I'm hoping we'll have a chance to pick that up, because I'm sorry that I went over my time. So,
you did,
Justin.
But I just want to make sure there's a good discussion.